Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shark Scrapper Live, all you scrappers, recyclers, and investors. It is great to be with you all again today. We have got a lot of fun stuff coming up in today's live stream. I am really looking forward to it. It is going to be a lot of fun. Um, let's see here. I'm looking to. Um, I'm looking for the live stream broadcast. There we are. There was a huge delay between when I started the stream and when it came up on the YouTube side. So that was really weird. Hey, the wonders of technology, huh? All right. Well, look, let's see who is in the house as we get this thing cranked up. Oh, we have got Roger at CU Scrapping, Scrapping Irish, Mary Anderson 7773. Welcome from Iowa. Great to have you here. Split Short Bait Z920. Welcome. That's quite a name. I'm going to have to figure out a short way to say that one if you don't mind. Short Bait. Richard Hulbert is with us. Great to have you here, Richard. Let's see. Andy Pastadou, welcome. Great to have you here. JR Cat, of course, is in the house with us. Mike's Meltdown, E-Waste Mike. Wonderful to have everybody with us here. Patrick Williams, 4613, Electronic Scrappers in the house. Man, it is great to have everybody with us. Not sure what the big delay was because everything seemed to work fine on this end when I pushed the start button. But when I was looking on my iPhone, it took a while for YouTube to come up. So that was really weird. Anyway, we got to dive right in because we have got just some really, really fun stuff to talk about here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it here with silver. We're on the AppMex website. Again, I have to just pass on that I am not sponsored by AppMex. I don't get any money from AppMex. I'm not an affiliate, that kind of stuff. Although you might see, depending upon how you came on the stream, you might see that I added those those things on YouTube where you can click and get stuff off of YouTube. Um, you know, I, it's for AppMex, it's for silver being sold through Walmart. I don't know. I mean, folks have said they've had great success doing that. That it works fine for them. So why not? But I always like going straight to AppMex. I've never had any trouble with going straight to AppMex. I mean, there's a little bit of a delay from when you make your order to when it shows up in the mailbox, but I've always had very good success with AppMex. No drama. The same with folks like JM Bullion and those folks. So um, you buy it however works best for you. But I just have to be mindful to tell you that I'm not sponsored by them. All right, 5667. Holy cow. 5667. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when we were getting all excited that we were going to break 50. And now we're at 5667. This is the 1 week chart on AppMex. Look at this. Let's just go ahead and get this line. Go look at how we went from down here in the beginning of the week, we're out here at 50-ish, and we had this slow climb coming up, and then all of a sudden, boom, we just like jump right up here. I mean, that's a sweet climb. Here, let's go to the 3-day real quick, and here you can see on the 3-day we're kind of bouncing around here at this level, and then we just climb right up. I mean, that is really nice. It's hard to be upset about that unless you're one of these folks who got behind the power curve, didn't buy silver when it was way cheap, and now you're going, oh man, I wish I'd been buying silver all this time. Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing for folks to say to themselves. Let's pop over to the trading economics chart. It gives us a bit more that we can do. The first thing that we'll do is we'll look at their discussion. Silver extended its rally, soaring above 56 per ounce and mounting supply concerns and growing expectation of further Federal Reserve rate cuts. Now, remember, when interest rates go down, when the U.S. cuts the interest rates, that means that the interest rates tend to go down across all of the, everything that where you're going to earn interest. And when interest rates go down, investors are more inclined to go into silver and gold because they're not losing interest from other potential sources. So it motivates large-scale investors to go into silver and gold. And then, of course, as we have discussed many times on this channel, the constant economic churn that is associated with the current U.S. regime has really created a lot of investor demand for safe haven assets, driving a lot of safe haven, gold, silver, chief among those safe haven assets. Add to this, we have Chinese inventories have dropped to their lowest level in a decade following heavy shipments to London triggered by a supply squeeze, while China's silver exports surged to an all-time high of more than 660 tons in October. Think of that, measuring silver in tons. I mean, we tend to talk about it in ounces, but investors, nation states are talking about tons. That's amazing. That is just amazing. Anyway, markets now assign roughly an 85% probability to a third Fed rate cut in December, with 3 additional cuts anticipated by the end of 2026. Expectations have been reinforced by reports that White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett is the leading contender for the next Fed chair, a choice seen as aligned with President Trump's adherence to lower rates. Since October, silver has repeatedly tested record highs as global economic uncertainty, the prospect of looser monetary policy, and tightening physical supply have continued to strengthen demand. So, silver's going up, folks, and we can expect silver to keep going up. In fact, let's pop over here to the forecast. I will draw your attention to this part of the chart and look at this line going over 60, and climbing well over 60 here. In their discussion, they put the forecast over the next 12 months to get to 61.59. So that is a real nice climb for silver. We in the scrapping world, we get silver. It's not as prevalent or as obvious as gold, which we find in, all of our gold bearing material, circuit boards, RAM, memory, that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of silver in various pieces of scrap that we get. So depending upon your nature of scrapping, you may have more and more access to silver than other folks. It also makes the prospect of recovering silver from silver milars a much more interesting prospect as well. So that'll be something for us to think about moving forward. Righty then, let's leave this forecast graphic chart up and let's get over to the comments and see what folks have had to say about silver. Going back up here to where I came in. All right, now. Oh, let's see. I'm also looking to see if anybody else has joined us since I started talking. Folks saying hi. Casey11 has joined us. Casey, welcome. Kerosene Cucumber is with us. Kerosene Cucumber, welcome. Great to have you here. I'm looking for both new people and so JR Cat says he likes Kitco. I don't have any issues with Kitco either. I have used Kitco. I really should, mention them more than I do because I've had good success with Kitco as well. So, yeah, no intentional shorting of Kitco. I like it. It's a perfectly good company, and I have used them myself. So, yeah, by all means, go. Feel free to use Kitco. More folks chatting about saying hi to each other. Okay, here we are. JR Cat, silver is going up and the dollar buying power is going down. Well, yeah, that always happens. I mean, that's normal. That's that's the way that math works out. That's an interesting observation, Roger. I hadn't put those two together, but yeah, 1750 for silver ram. That's pretty sweet. And it's a good relationship that you put together there. I just hadn't thought about it that way. Richard saying that he saved silver bearing material, so he hasn't gotten around to processing much of it yet. Yeah, that's up a bit, right? It's funny how some people are very reserved in their judgments of, oh yeah, that's up a little bit. That understated British perspective and humor got them in trouble sometimes during World War II, when they would be under heavy attack and they would call for reinforcements, and an American general or whatever would say, "What's the situation?" And the British officer might say something like, "Well, it's getting a bit warm here, or it's getting a bit challenging." And so the American would say, "Oh, okay, well, that doesn't sound that bad." So you got to be careful the way you phrase things. Sometimes people won't, take it for what it really means. Hey, while we're on silver, let's go back here and let's take a quick trip over to gold, because we would normally think, and here I want to go back to the 1 year chart. We would think that if we see silver doing this kind of stuff, there is an expectation that gold is probably following. So let's take a close look at gold here, and it's similar. I mean, it didn't skyrocket to new highs the way silver did, but we are climbing. We're at 42.17. We haven't gotten back over that 43, almost 43.60 that gold was at, but it is starting to come back up again. So where silver is making all-time highs right now, gold, although they're going up, hasn't quite made that, isn't pressing all-time highs. Part of that could very well be that gold did get pretty heated for a while, and so investors sort of, said, all right, well, let's back off, take a look at silver for a while. A lot of it could also be that silver also has industrial demands that gold does not. So there's that extra level of an industrial demand signal on silver that gold doesn't necessarily have. It doesn't mean that gold doesn't have any industrial demand, but silver has a lot of industrial uses that add to the demand signal on silver beyond just its precious metal value. You know what I also want to do here while I'm back on silver, I want to bring up the candlesticks, and I want to see, holy cow, look at that. Let's zoom in here. I want to zoom into this part. So we're going to zoom in here. And, here we were October 16, and silver had a couple of really steep down days. Then we sort of pick back up again. We're going through some churn. And then look at these candlesticks, one after another. Big, tall, green candlesticks, just pushing way up. So that's just people buying in, driving the prices up and up and up. So yeah, that's a very strong signal. Might be time to sell some more of your silver, folks, because with signals like this, you're going to have people out there that want to buy silver to meet these buying demands. Now, your local coin dealer and pawn shop might not be able to give you as much as it all depends, but they may not be able to give you as good a price as somebody like APMEX or Kitco or JM Bullion. There's just going to be a time delay, of course, for when you would get your money, but it's worth looking into. Now, sometimes your coin shop or your pawn shop, they will pay you really good because they have local demand that they really want to meet. Way back when silver was first pushing 50 a few years back, I was very fortunate that I just happened to pick up on that and go in. And my silver dealer, who I had bought from for several years, he said, "Look, I'll buy as much of the silver as you want to sell me for $50 an ounce." Now, that was a very good deal at that time. And so, I sold him half of my silver. Doesn't always happen that way. So a lot depends on your local coin shop or pawn shop. So definitely give them a call. And it also helps if you have established that long-term relationship with them, because they are more inclined to give you a better deal if they know you well and they know that, well, what you're probably going to sell back to them is the same silver that they've been selling to you. So they have good confidence that it is quality silver that they'll be able to resell. So that is a very nice signal that we see there, and really good for us in the silver, in the scrap and recycling business. We're going to see some good prices for silver for a while. The price is going to keep going up. So there's a good opportunity for us to keep selling into this increasing market. Freaking Awesome has joined the show. Great to have you with us. D Scrap has joined us. Great to have you on board. We're having a lot of fun here. We're not talking aluminum today, Patrick, but thanks for posting the note there. I'm sure that Scrapping Irish will be asking about prices when we get over to Ireland later on. E-Waste Jill has joined us. E-Waste Jill, welcome. Great to have you with us. All righty then. It is now time for our safety discussion. And I tell you what, today today's safety discussion wasn't brought to us by any of our scrapping friends out there, but it was brought to us by the weather. I mean, here in the U.S., especially up in the north, it's cold. I mean, cold. Some places had blizzard and whiteout conditions yesterday, and those are always extremely dangerous when that goes down. Other places like here, we didn't get any snow, but it was cold. When I woke up yesterday, it was 21 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's like -5.5 Celsius. It was just freaking cold. Not freaking awesome, freaking cold. So I thought that it would be important for us to talk about what's going on. Now, I want to bring your attention over here. I'm going to put this up. This is the WeatherWise app that one of my favorite meteorologists, YouTube meteorologists, uses. A guy named Ryan Hall. If you don't know the Ryan Hall y'all channel, you'll want to check it out. RyanHall, Ryan Hall. Really good YouTube meteorologist. I mean, his discussions are very spot on. He's not one of these people that goes around pushing gloom and doom and oh, the world is going to end. He's very um, accurate and to the point. He has a bunch of storm chasers that are part of his network. And when there are tornadoes or snowstorms or hurricanes or any of those kind of things, he's got storm chasers out there that are bringing information back right on the spot, right in the area. Plus, he uses a lot of information to get great information out to us. And it's not a lot of hype. It's just good meteorology. So I would encourage you all to check out his channel. Now, this app is free. Anybody can get this app, the WeatherWise app, and I really love it. I mean, I'm a meteorologist. I did hurricane forecasting and other weather and oceanography forecasting for the U.S. Navy for 15 years. So when I find a really good place to get information like this, I'm happy to pass it on. You can get radar data. You can get this composite, which puts a lot of stuff together. You get satellite information. You get the model data. They also give you these outlooks, so you can go in here and you can, look at, here's the 1 day categorical outlooks. And these are things like when you click into an outlook area, you see winter weather advisory. And then you can click on that and you get the NOAA winter weather advisory, so you can get all the details on it. You can also, it'll let you know which radar stations are closely associated to that area, so that you can click right into the radar that you want to see. Here's a special weather statement, expires in 4 hours. Lake effect snow. All right. So WeatherWise, very, very good app. You can get it on your phone. You can get it on your PC. And it's not just for the U.S. So they also have, I know they have European. I'm not sure where else in the world they cover. But it's not just a U.S. only product. So great information here. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about here with the cold weather. So we've got all this cold air, this area that you see. This is cold air pushing down into the U.S. here, and this is a front moving along here. And so these are all the places where they've got snow going on, the warnings for the snow popping up here. Plus, we had that big snowstorm yesterday. There's the potential for snow and ice storms all along here over the next few days. So, winter weather safety. There's multiple things to think about. Obviously, if you're going to be outside working, you want to dress appropriately. Now, that doesn't mean you put on a great big heavy parka over top of short sleeves. It means you layer your clothing, especially if you're going to be working outside, because if you're working outside, you're going to start to generate, your body heat goes up, you're going to start sweating. You don't want to sweat, take off that parka, and then have your sweat freeze on your body, and then you risk, hypothermia and stuff because you don't have layers to help you regulate that temperature. So if you're going to be working outside, definitely have layers of clothing, even layers of gloves, so thinner gloves covered by big fat gloves to help, your ability to layer. Have a hat on because we lose a lot of heat through our heads. So make sure you have some sort of hat that you can wear. If you are going to be at someplace like a construction site, a scrapyard, try to avoid hoodies that block your peripheral vision. Because if you have a hoodie on and then you turn your head and you're looking into your hoodie, you're not going to see the forklift coming at you or the person carrying the sharp object. So be careful when you're wearing hoodies or things like that at a construction site or a scrapyard. If you can cinch them up tight around your head so that they turn with your head, that's fine. But you don't want to ruin your peripheral vision while you're trying to stay warm. Now, if you are just going out to do errands, Don't think to yourself, "Oh, I'm just going to the store, so I'm just gonna I'm fine in my short sleeves because I'm not going to be out in the weather that long. Just going to be going from the car into the store and back again." And then what happens is you get stuck in traffic. You have a flat tire. You get in an accident. Something happens. Now you're out in the weather and you don't have appropriate clothing. So make sure that even if you don't wear that coat or those gloves when you go from your house to your car, and so have them in the car at a minimum. Have something in the car that you can put on if you get in trouble while you're out on the road. In the wintertime, I always have a blanket in the car and gloves so that if something happens while I'm out, I have an ability to stay warm while I'm out in that cold. Yesterday, the during the snowstorms that were happening up here in the north, uh, there were highways that got stopped. They had jackknife trucks. People were stuck on those highways for hours on end. And you might be running your car to keep the heater on, but depending upon how long that goes on, you may not be able to keep running your car. And if your car is in one spot and it's very heavy snow coming down, you risk having your car get stuck in the snow. It can get dangerous. So make sure you have warm clothes with you. It probably sounds silly, but make sure you have your cell phone with you so that um, if you do get stuck out in the weather, you can let somebody know what's going on. You can call here in the United States 911 if you get in an accident. Um, Otherwise, get assistance and drive slower. Slow down. Ice, snow, black ice in particular can be extremely dangerous. The best thing to do in this cold weather is just slow down. So you don't get in, or well, at least you reduce the odds of getting in an accident. Now, if you're street scrapping or you're out there at the scrapyard or you're otherwise out in the elements, be even more careful because as your hands get cold, you will, get a little bit of numbness going on in your hands, and it's a lot easier to hurt yourself. So also be paying more attention to your digits because it's a lot, as your fingers and stuff get numb from a little bit of cold, it's just really easy to hurt yourself. Um, at home, we had our space heater safety discussion already, so I'm not going to repeat all that. But make sure that you do the little things like if there's snow and ice in the forecast, put some salt or sand out on your sidewalk, your driveway, so that you can get that cleared up, so you're not risking slipping and falling outside. If it's heavy snow, you may need to have a plow service on call to get your driveway cleared out. If you are shoveling the snow yourself, be extremely careful because there are so many people every year who die from heart attacks because they go out, they don't realize how heavy wet snow can be or how much exertion is involved in shoveling snow. And so they go out, they start doing this heavy exertion, shoveling snow, and then the next thing you know, they're having a heart attack. They're otherwise passing out from overexertion, and somebody may or may not see them out there. Now they're unconscious or in a life-threatening medical condition in the snow. It can get ugly fast. So be very, very careful if you need to go out and shovel snow. Don't try to take complete shovelfuls. Slow down a little bit. Take your time. Maybe even push the snow out of the way more than lifting and throwing the snow out of the way. And if you're one of these people who hasn't done a lot of exercising, who's not keeping up with your cardio and your strength, be even more careful because it can get really dangerous. And boy, how do you talk about a backache? I mean, that motion, that twisting motion of throwing heavy stuff over the side, you are going to be a sore puppy the next day, most likely. All righty. Well, what kind of snow and weather kind of stuff has come up here? La, 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 la. I'm trying to get to looking for where we start the winter weather discussions. Man, I tell you what, I made a smoked brisket for the first time for Thanksgiving, and oh man, it was awesome. I just absolutely loved it. Uh, and of course, it's just Mrs. Shark and I. So we've been eating brisket for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh man. Okay. Um, JP Scrap, welcome. Great to have you here. That's a really good point. Those dumpster doors could swing in the wind. Also, nothing like a cold door smacking you in the face. It's very true. If the wind is blowing with a winter storm, um, those, whether they open sideways or they flip open up and whack you, you really got to watch out for those doors. So do definitely be careful there. Um, uh-huh. Yep. Gonna be colder than a witch's tata. In January, no less. Roger had 8.3 inches here yesterday. Supposed to get another inch or two tonight. 22 degrees right now. Holy bajoli. Man, Roger, that's a lot of snow. A lot of snow. Anyways, Jill had a bunch of snow. Uh, anyways, Jill's had the perfect rain to snow with door freezing. Yeah, that's always bad when you get that freezing mix going on and door handles freeze and you get the ice coating on the doors. That can make things really really tough. Yeah, definitely want to make sure too that you have your windshield scraper. Do not do not pour warm water on your windshield. You won't have a windshield anymore. Is basically what that comes down to. I haven't tried any of the de-icing products that you see on a lot of places. You can spray on the window and stuff like that. I when I in the wintertime I do put a winterized solution in my windshield wipers, so there's a little bit of antifreeze uh, that would help protect against um, the freezing on the windshield. So you'll want to be thinking about that. JR Cat saying he's got 5 cords of firewood, 12 cans of coffee, water jugs holding down the freezer door. Uh, okay, very cool. Yep, yep. Got to watch out for that. Uh, Yeah, some are built different. Snow is still t-shirt weather. But, for some people, I get it. When I lived on Cape Cod, we had a lot of the guys that grew up there. It's like they're wearing shorts, and I mean, it's down in the teens, it's blowing snow, and they're coming to work in shorts. Now, I think part of that was stupid manhood, because they'd come in and their legs would be red, from the cold wind uh, on their legs. So, yeah, I get it. Some people can handle the cold a little better than others. But remember, we're still humans, and there's only a certain amount that our bodies are capable of withstanding. We may become more acclimated to cold weather, and therefore be able to, I don't want to say be more comfortable, but, be able to deal, where one person might be all bundled up in a heavy coat, another person might only have a t-shirt on, but our human bodies are still prone to the same damages from freezing weather, regardless of our acclimation and acclimatization to the feel of it. So do be very careful of that. Jill's making a point here. If y'all have a work vehicle, make the boss keep the AC working. Less humidity equals no fogging inside. Very good point, Jill. A lot of folks, don't know or don't remember when it's cold outside that cold reduces the amount of moisture that's in the air, and so yeah, and it's one of those things that you frequently see happen. A person will be outside, they'll shovel the driveway, they'll clean the car, they'll have the heater going in their car, they'll get in their car, and their windshield fogs up, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" So very important to think about. Keep a bottle of water under the seat. Keep a bottle under the seat. Oh, I gotcha. But it would be a bad idea to keep some water under the seat too. But yeah, keep a bottle under the seat. Actually, Jill made the point of carrying toilet paper, and so those are two. It seems like it's a funny thing, but especially if you're gonna be out on the highways, or you have to frequently travel the highway, those you might find that that's not as funny as you think it is. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Ed Weber's in the house. Ed, welcome. Great to have you here. Yeah, Jill, by the way, is reminding us that she's an over-the-road trucker, so she's had some experiences. I'm sure that many of us, uh, wouldn't want to have. Marlena Martin's in the house. Welcome. Great to have you here. Uh, let's see. I carry regular shovel with flat blade. It also scrapes ice. I had to use it. Others dig you out. Yeah, I mean that's good. That's a good point too. Having a shovel in your vehicle. If you can't fit a regular long shovel, they make the short shovels. You can also go to one of those military sites and get the folding blade shovels and trenching tools, is what the military calls them. They don't take up a lot of space, and they can be useful for helping to get you dug out as well. Um, yes. So I'm sure that most of us have done this in our youth. So it's really something that yeah, you want to be really careful there. That can be a real bummer. Also, and because Richard is usually commenting about alcohol, and hey, let's some of us like to drink. I got no issues with that. But the other thing to remember is that alcohol does not warm you up. So I know a lot of people, they say, oh well, have you're real cold, you have a shot of whiskey, a shot of rum, something like that, it'll warm you up. Alcohol is not going to help warm up your body. Now you get back in the house, you want to have a warm toddy, go for it, no issues there. But if you're outside in the cold, and you're fishing, you're just out camping, hiking, that kind of stuff, be careful with your alcohol consumption, because that can lead to some dangerous body temperature problems. Yeah, small shovel in the trunk, great idea. Maybe even some sand, a bag of sand, along with, the snow melt isn't going to help you a lot, because if you get stuck out in the snow, you need traction. And if you throw down salt or snow melt, well, you're just going to create, the liquid that very likely is going to refreeze. So sand is probably a good thing or wood chips might be another good thing. Plus, if you live up in the north, you probably already have chains or some sort of similar kind of thing that you're used to putting on. But if you've relocated to the north, then you may not think about that, and your all-weather tires may or may not be sufficient, depending upon how the weather is. Do they still have enough grip? Those kind of things. Uh, Potato flakes. Okay, interesting. Oh, okay. Hey, I tell you what, we need to move on because we need to talk about our other metal. So let's get right over here. Let's go to. We need to get on with our industrial metal because this is another one that we need to pay attention to, and that's copper. So we see copper is starting to climb again, and yeah, we're not at highs. We've had higher highs this year, but we see copper is climbing again. If you look at this recent part of the year, you can see we've had a lot of gyrations going on with copper. And again, this is going back to the uncertainty of tariffs, of other regulatory actions. We know that earlier in the year, the U.S. Put a tariff on products containing processed copper, but they did not put a tariff on the raw copper, the high grade kind of copper coming in. But they have recently, they being people from the regime, have made comments about that the U.S. may reconsider putting tariffs on high grade copper anodes, copper ore, those sorts of things. So we see a lot of uncertainty in the copper market as well, and that's a good thing for us in from a purely selfish perspective of a scrapper and a recycler. The uncertainty in the copper market means that the prices will continue to go up, which means we will get more money. Now, there are negative consequences to all of that uncertainty that we are all feeling around the world in other things, but purely on the value of our scrap copper, this is a good thing. So copper futures in the U.S. were above 5.1 per pound, testing their highest levels in 4 months and mounting concerns of low supply. A series of mine disruptions, we've talked about this in previous episodes, from major producers drove sellers to raise their selling price. I mean, that is just pure supply and demand mathematics going on there. These include a fatal incident at the Freeport McMoran's Gasberg mine in Indonesia, which halted activity. And that particular mine is responsible for 3% of global production, 3% of global supply. So that's a pretty significant hit. We also have output will slow in Chile and Peru mines. So there's some issues going on. The bottom line is we've got some supply issues with copper that are starting to bubble up. We've got the continued economic churn that is going on in the U.S., plus the potential or non-potential or unknown potential of copper tariffs in the future, just really creating a lot of churn. And again, that's what's driving these copper prices. I want to pop up the candlestick charts because I want to show, if we zoom in on this period right here, what we see is this variability that's going on. You see a number of red and green candlesticks. Some of them are the same size. Some of them, if you put a couple days together, are the same size, both up and down. This is classic investors churning on, chewing on, trying to figure out what's going on. So, what does that mean for our scrap yards? It means they're probably not going to change prices. They're probably just going to stay where they're at right now because, our local yards, most likely our local yards are selling to either uh, a production mill somewhere, or they're selling to larger yards that are consolidating and selling to mills somewhere. So, the prices will probably be remain good for us. If we take a look at the forecast, we see we have a nice steep, and I say nice, that's a relative term, and I'll explain why. But you can see we have this pretty steep climb here. Now, when I see steep climbs like this, it makes me nervous. Um, it makes me nervous because it can cause both individual scrappers and yards to make hasty decisions that aren't good in the long term. Um, so, for us in the scrap world, we look at this and people say, oh, I'm going to hoard my copper. I'm going to hoard my copper. Prices are going to go up. I'm going to hoard my copper. And then what happens is, because there's nothing harder to do than actually produce an accurate forecast. Well, forecasting anything is easy. Verifying the results of the forecast is where people run into trouble, right? So, yeah, right now we have some very smart people. The forecasters at Trading Economics, they do a good job letting us know where the market could go. But a forecast can change in a heartbeat depending upon what happens in the world. So right now they see copper, getting up above the where it was here, getting up above this 5.7 point, and getting up to 585 in the next 12 months. And folks will look at a nice steep climb like that, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to hang on to my copper. I'm going to hoard it. I'm going to make a mint when it gets to the top." And you're chasing the top, and then you either miss the top, something happens in the world, and the market all of a sudden corrects, and now you've not sold your copper. Um, and so it's easy to make decisions that you regret later on when we see this kind of situation. Now, having said that, it's a good time to be, selling your copper. It's a good time to be holding some back. When I see steep lines like this, I adjust my hold back from 10% to 20%. So I'm keeping back 20% of my higher grade copper, my copper number one, my Bear Bright, some nice big chunks of, big chunky copper heat sinks. I'm holding back 20% of those in the anticipation of some good prices down the line. Now, I'm a small business. I have to pay the bills every month. I got to keep stuff moving. So this is good for me because I'm selling my number three, my number two insulated copper wire. I'm making some good money on it right now. And I know that I've got some copper held back to take advantage of somewhere down the line. So that's my recommendation. Don't get carried away with these prices and try to hoard all of your copper unless, and this is a big unless, you're a hobby scrapper, you don't need the money, you've got the space, why not? It's if you're a hobby scrapper, you're not paying bills, you don't need this money to survive, then yeah, go ahead, hang on to it if you got the space. Don't I'd be careful storing it outside because copper can easily corrode and become an issue or lose value as it gets corroded. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. But otherwise, you just why not, right? As a hobby scrapper, but don't think you're going to make a fortune out there, right? None of us. I have to be careful, but I suspect that most of us don't necessarily have the place where we can store tons and tons of copper without worrying about it, without it being in the elements, those kind of things. So Sure, if you're a hobby scrapper, you have the space, go ahead and store it. If you're a small business and you need to pay the bills, well, keep about 20% behind for these future strong values. All right, let's see. What have you all had to say? Everyday Solars has joined us. Welcome, Everyday Solars. Great to have you here. I missed this very important safety note from J.R. Cat about winter weather. Oh man! All right, let's see. Roger, selling my number two copper and yellow brass this week for cash flow. I hear you, man. I hear you. I'll be doing the same. I've got I've got to get mine sold as well. So, yep, I'll be selling mine. Uh, Everyday Solars, welcome. Great to have you here. Richard is saying he stripped about 125 pounds of copper this weekend. He's got more to go, sitting on about 500 pounds ready to turn in. Yeah, Richard's one of those classic examples. Richard doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to sell it. So, Richard can sit on it and let it keep going. Tracy Bachman, 1937, Comex Copper 527.8 last Friday. Yep. JR Cat's not planning on selling until the first of the year. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to bring up JR Cat's comment here real quick because there's another issue that goes on at this time of year. A lot of scrap yards, they know that people are bringing in material to sell so they can get money to buy Christmas presents. I know that sounds weird, but there's a lot of truth to that. Ask anyone who's been in this business for more than a few years, and they're going to tell you that it just invariably seems like come November, December, the prices at the scrap yards either go flat or down. And, there's a very logical argument that the scrap yards are saying, well, a lot of people are going to bring in the stuff they've accumulated over the year to make money to buy those Christmas presents. So we're going to lower the prices. Is it right? Is it a good, that's business, right? Supply and demand. That's the way business goes. You like it, hate it. It's just a reality that you need to pay attention to. And R3 Welding Services, welcome. By the way, I don't think it said hello yet. Got to sell to finance a board sort box. All right, got to ship that box, man. That's a good reason to sell, right? You got to make some money so you can put together, get another box out the door. I get it. I understand. Let's see. Roger's saying, yeah, I've got a Gaylord going to board sort in a week or two himself. Yep, I'm putting together a Gaylord box for board sort this week as well. So I'm hoping I'll get it out of here. I don't know. It's a very busy week, so I don't know if I'm going to get that ready to go this week or not. Looking for some more copper comments. Folks saying where they're at there. Let's see. I have 400 pounds plus sorted. How much is a Gaylord shipped? I can't tell you for sure, but check out freightquote.com. It's a really easy service to use, or LDI, either one of those. They're both good shippers. I've gotten real good prices from both of them. I would guess that you're looking at 300-ish to ship that, but it's less than truckload shipping prices can be so weird. I mean, so weird. I can put in, and I do, when I go into freightquote.com and I'll put in the weight, the length, width, and height of the Gaylord, including the pallet, and what's in there, scrap computer board. So, it's the same information. I get, a dozen or so bids from different shipping companies. And I have seen bids that have ranged from $350 to over $1,000. And it's like, really? Really? I mean, those are huge differences in shipping costs. So definitely go to freightquote.com, and if you get a chance after you get your quote, drop me a line, man, so I can see what you got there. Okay. Now I have something that I want to share with you all. I want to put this down, and I'm going to make that go away. So, just before I went live today, I received this email. And it's we get these things, they pop up, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to share this with everybody, because this is such a classic example of how the scumbag filth thieves of the world are trying to take our money. Not that I have a strong opinion. I'm an understanding person, and I think that hackers should be skinned alive, drawn, and quartered. I believe that's fair. But again, I don't have a strong opinion on this. But this email popped up. I mean, no kidding. This is an email sent to me. $49 payment. Here, wait a minute. Let's do this. $49 payment to claim 727 LLC was unsuccessful. Interesting. Now it's from Stripe, so you're thinking to yourself, a lot of people use Stripe. I don't recognize the name. I haven't been doing business with anybody, but sometimes some companies have the company name that is registered for business is different than the brand name that you see all the time. I'm looking at this description here, and that one looks weird because it's like it isn't at stripe.com, but this first part of the address seems kind of weird. When I click on the down arrow, you're not going to see it because this is a screen capture. But when I clicked on this down arrow, it looked like the domain was in fact a legit Stripe domain. But hovering over the claim 727 LLC, it is really, really clear that this is not a Stripe email. I'd have no idea who these claim 727 people are. I went and did a little digging, and it's funny, but a lot of the telephone scams that you get come from 727 area codes. So there's a lot of phishing scams that come from the 727 area code. So that immediately puts me off on this. And there were just a number of other things. So we were unable to charge your Visa ending in 6594 for your claim 727 LLC subscription. Well, I never tried to make a subscription to them. Please update your billing information, and they want you to click on their link. They give you a place that you can click for questions. All right. Now, this is very clearly a scam of some sort. Maybe it's a phishing scam. Maybe it's a click on the link and it embeds a virus scam. Who knows? I might send an email to stripe.com customer support or fraud reporting when I haven't looked it up yet. This happened just before I went live. So we'll look and see if there's a fraud place that I can go ask, is this legit? Because the other possibility is that it is a legit charge that bounced and maybe somebody has stolen my credit card information. So the other thing that I will do is I will check with the bank where this credit card is from, and I will look at all the charges on this credit card and take, see if there's any action that I might need to do over there. I wanted to put this up there because people are doing a lot of buying this time of year, and it's very easy for us to get scammed, because there's a lot of scumbag filth out there who will do whatever they can to steal from us. I have precious little tolerance for thieves, and I have even less when it comes to hackers. So be careful, everybody. It's a risky time of the year, and the hackers are out in full force. Now, it is time for us to head across the pond to Ireland. Or I don't know, is it that way? And I think it's that way. Yeah, I think Ireland's that way. So anyway, it's time for us to head across the pond to Ireland. If you have autoplay enabled, you will be automatically redirected to Scrapping Irish's live stream. When I end this stream, if you do not have autoplay enabled, please go on the YouTube site, go up in that search bar, type in Scrapping Irish, and join us for the Scrapping Irish live stream. Lots of fun discussions. We never know where that one's going because that one is Q&A driven by you when you're on there. So I look forward to seeing everybody over there. If I don't see you over there, be safe. Watch out for that winter weather if you're up in the north, and have fun with your Christmas shopping. Just be careful.